Well, Melo, at this point, for the price that you're going to pay, you're going to get tremendous bang for your buck because you're not going to have to pay a lot to get him.
Give me. I'll take it.
Yeah. Melo at like 2-3 million feels a lot different than Melo at 22-23 million.
You can't. There's always a Schroeder risk, okay, which is what you see on the court and what they're actually doing, which is providing scoring and being able to be an instant offense sort of guy, albeit not necessarily the most efficient way. What you can't quantify, that's there and it's tangible, but what you can't quantify is fit and what it does for everybody else on the court around them. And again, it's fairly obvious after the fact, despite the fact that Schroeder was capable doing what he was doing and came as advertised, it wasn't a fit. And so when they moved on, that helped. In addition to a bunch of other things happening, I think Schroeder was a victim of bad timing too, because a bunch of other things started breaking for the Celtics. Well, but it didn't fit. It was kind of clear. And, that's the fear with Melo, is that he's in there. And when he's in there, he's got to be Melo. I'm not that worried about it. I'm really not. I really do think that this is a very natural fit. If they could pull it off, if there's a way you can get Melo for $3 million, I don't even blink.
I don't love it. I love Melo, and we got the Hughes connection over here on this side, but 38 off a dreadful defensive season. He shot okay, but not necessarily the most natural catch and shoot guy. Needs the ball in his hands at times to do stuff. And he's adapted well. He's with all this in recent years. Portland, LA. Again, you can't be picky. You can't be choosy here. There's not a ton of risk with signing a guy for a minimum. I wouldn't be mad if they did it, but I'd look at some other options here. I'm intrigued by Jared Vanderbilt. That's a guy I love. Minnesota, they're in Utah, they're in a fire sale. There's a couple different guys on that roster I'd be taking a look at. They need to get under the luxury tax, so you might not even have to pay anything to get one of those guys.
Yep.
I'm intrigued by someone off that roster.
But I hear what you're saying, Bobby. And again, I come back to two things. One, bang for your buck. You're going to get tremendous bang for your buck. You have one of the all-time great NBA scorers that you can bring off your bench, limit him to 10, 15 minutes. He would not have a problem with that because there's a reason why he's still out there. Teams are a little bit skittish about what they're going to get with him. But in Boston, it would be a perfect situation for him. They literally need him to do what Carmelo Anthony does, get buckets. And the way that the Celtics play defense, and we saw it last year, if you've got a healthy Robert Williams, he's going to cover up a lot of flaws with your defense. And certainly, if you have him on the floor, you're going to make damn sure if Melo's on the floor, you're probably going to have Rob out there, in that kind of free safety defensive mode. And the other thing about Melo that I think you can't really, I think, gloss over is the fact that experience, yes, he's got tremendous wear and tear on those wheels, but the wisdom that he has gone through, the tough times that he has endured as an elite player. I mean, Melo is going to be thirsty to win. And whatever they need him to do, whatever any team for that matter, Boston or anyone else, Melo, I think, is going to buy in.
And this is what you got to think of. Again, you bring in Carmelo Anthony to be like a core piece of your team. You have to worry about the things Carmelo Anthony doesn't do. But when you're talking about what he does, bench scoring and wing depth, you think Melo, and again, someone put it in the comments here, and I think that this is a good one. I know he's not great defensively. Are you really worried he's going to get friggin' cooked with a second going against other teams' bench players? You just need him in there to lighten the load a little bit, and a guy who can create his own shot. The value, and this is why I was always a bit of a Schroeder defender, the value in a person who can create their own shot in a second unit that has none of them is tremendous. And what did we see in the finals? Nothing. There's no offense. If you didn't have Tatum and Brown on the floor at the same time, there was nothing doing on the offensive side of the ball. You have to have some guys who can create. Brogdon is a huge part of that now too. So that helps already because you can always play two of those guys at the same time and have it. But you're literally just talking about, I got to get Tatum down to 37 minutes, 36 minutes. I can't have him hovering around 40 most of the year. I've just got to create an opportunity here. So you're talking about shaving 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 15 minutes, all you need. You can't make that work with Melo in there, possibly even have him in there in a small ball 5 role as a crunch time scorer. Abso-freaking-lutely. You know, like I think there's a lot of things you can do here. And again, yeah,
it'd be a good piece to have, on paper, and you looking at what he's done in recent seasons. But he'd have to commit to the role, and I think that role will entail him not playing on certain nights, many nights, in fact. I think they'll play tighter. I think they'll go with some 3 guard lineups with the personnel that they have now. He'd be more of like a relief arm here to me, and that's what Gallinari, I think, was effectively going to be.
Yep.
And that's fine.
exactly it. What's the difference, honestly? I mean, certainly Gallinari's a better shooter, but is it that much better? You know? Yes. I mean, yes, he's a better 3-point shooter, a better spot up shooter, but I mean, also he's less athletic. You know, I mean, he's probably less capable defender than Melo, which someone like Melo, it's always really more a matter of will. You know, you get older, you're a superstar player, and you just don't friggin' lock down on the D. That's not what you're getting paid to do. But you come here, you just got to bust ass for 10, 12, 15 minutes a game. It's easy. It's easier to put up a little bit better defensive effort when that's really all you're asked of. You're asking him to go out there and carry the freight and score 26, 27, 28 points per game and play 35 minutes in an advancing age. Yeah, I don't know that I can keep that up on both ends of the floor, but you can do that. It's like a closer. Closer can come in throwing 100 miles an hour. You don't have to worry about how you're going to be 3 innings from now. We just need you to do it now. So I'm less concerned about it, than I know a lot of people might be.
Why do you think he's still out there, Sherrod?
Why? Fit. I mean, I think Carmelo is a guy, if you're a championship, when you look at the teams that are near the front of the pack, you look at Boston, you look at Miami, you look at Golden State, you look at Milwaukee. Carmelo doesn't really seem to have a natural fit with those teams because they seem to have addressed whatever he could provide. Whereas the Celtics, they did the same when they got Gallinari, but now that he's not in the mix, and you start looking at who are veteran stretch bigs who are available, who are good shooters, and we don't have to spend a ton of money to get. And there aren't a lot of and have experience, whether it's regular season or playoff experience, but they got a significant amount of experience. There just aren't a lot of guys out there. I like the Vanderbilt kid that you talked about, Bobby. I think he is a good player. But I just wonder, one, how well of a fit would he be? Will he come with the kind of edge that I know Carmelo with? Because Carmelo knows what time it is. He knows he's near the end of his career, and he's not going to get many opportunities to be on a championship caliber team and have actual role on that team. And even if that role fluctuates, whether he plays 2 or 3 games in a row and misses a game or 2 because the matchups just don't work out that night. So I do think he comes in with a different kind of edge than someone a little bit younger who might be comparable in terms of skill set. And if you're the Celtics, half of the battle for them, I think, once they get deep into the playoffs, is attitude. I don't think, that Golden State necessarily had, better players. But when you got a guy like Iguodala who can go from not playing at all to being an X factor to being arguably the difference between you winning, 1 of 4 games in a best of 7 series, you need to have players who kind of have that mindset that they can be that on any given night, they can be that guy. And Carmelo, I mean, if we're being honest and real, would anyone be shocked if Carmelo comes to Boston or plays for another team and goes out and drops 40 one night? It wouldn't shock anyone.
At this point, probably. I think you're more looking at.
But it's in his DNA. You know that's something that it's not like that's something that you haven't seen him do before. That's my point. While it's highly unlikely it'll happen, you shouldn't be shocked because he's done it before. And we all know when you're a great NBA player on any given night, you can reach into the bag, and even if it's not consistent, you can find that greatness. That greatness can come out. So I like the idea because I know you're getting significant bang for your buck, and it's not going to make you adversely worse. If anything, it's only going to help you. And no disrespect to your boy Luke Cornett, but I kind of like Melo a little bit more than Luke Cornett.